Thor Ragnarok, or as I like to call it, what Hulk and Thor were doing during Civil War. Hello everybody, I am Lazerdude, and this is another one of my Lazerdude predictions for the superhero movies coming out in 2017. Now, we only got two more superhero movies to talk about, and let's, of course, talk about Thor Ragnarok. Now, the Thor franchise has been one that's been a little bit of a... it's kind of odd in a way that people really like Thor the character, but I don't think anyone's too crazy about his movies. I enjoyed the first Thor fine, but I haven't rewatched it in a long time. Thor The Dark World had really good moments and parts of it, but was overall kind of boring. But I think the thing that makes us want to watch them and that we enjoy them is our enjoyment of the two main characters, that being Thor and Loki. Both Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston really nailed their performances and these characters, and we really enjoyed seeing them. And so now it's time for their third movie, Thor Ragnarok. Now let me just say, before I talk about the trailer, I was really interested in what this movie was going to be. Because this is Ragnarok. And, you know, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, this is the event that is always talked about. Like, you always hear about Ragnarok, about how this is like the end of all things, the end of the world. This is a really big and humongous event. And this is like, okay, I want to see what they do with it. I want to see how they handle this. And the trailer handles it in the opposite way I thought they were going. Basically, I thought the finale of this was going to try to be super serious, you know, take itself, like, this is the end of the world happening now, you know, this is the way this is going to happen, like, we need to, the whole universe is at stake. And yet, for some reason, the trailer shows that they're going, like, the opposite way. We're taking ourselves less seriously, having more fun, and just having a humongously good time with this. So let's talk about it more with, what do we get from the trailer? Well, the first big thing that happens is Thor's hammer gets crushed. I remember I was in the theater and I was watching a movie, and my brother and his wife were in the theater, and when that happened, she's like, no, that's not right! I'm like, it was pretty funny, because that was kind of my reaction too, like, whoa, it just did that, wow. Okay. That moment right there just sucks you in. But this trailers have, like, really conflicting tones. Because on the one hand, we have this stuff with the villain Hela, the goddess of death. And how she's, like, you know, massacring people. We see Asgard, like, blow up. And we see, like, these weird, like, dark and twisted images. Like, oh, okay. Then on the other side, we have Jeff Goldblum in some science fiction stuff. I mean, how do we go from this to this in the same trailer? But the more I think about it, Thor has kind of been more of a science fiction movie than fantasy, really. I mean, the most fantasy we've really seen from them is, like, the Frost Giants, and that's basically it. The rest of the films have really been more science fiction based. Like, the last films, they were flying spaceships, and they had, like, all their spears had, like, laser weapons where they were firing, which is weird now, because in the trailer to this movie, it seems like they've just gone back to regular spears. Budget cuts, I tell you. However, this movie there's a lot of plot holes that they're seemingly going around, because the last Thor movie had Loki on the throne of Asgard pretending to be Odin. Now, my guess is that Loki did something to Odin, took him out of the picture, and that's why Hela is now moving on, because she's like, oh, now Asgard's weak. They don't have Odin to protect him anymore? This will be a breeze. Kate Blanchett actually looks like she's having a lot of fun with this, and this could be a really fun character, and I think she really could do a lot with it. It's just weird that we have these, like, conflicting tones of science fiction, like, because we're also basically doing Planet Hulk. This is Thor Ragnarok Hulk Planet. Because we got Jeff Goldblum in this other science fiction world, and Thor gets captured, and they're put in an arena to fight each other. And I'm like, this feels like, I don't know, how do we get to this point? But let's ask some of these questions. What am I most excited for? I'm actually excited to see what they do with this. This is a really, like, oxymoron thing where they're trying to be super serious with this Hela stuff and then super light and adventurous with this Hulk stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how this movie goes. I don't see the pattern in it. So I'm most excited forward to see where this movie goes, what they do with this. This whole thing with Thor trying to get a team to fight Hela. Because he's a hella pissed. I couldn't help it. So I'm excited to see a lot of stuff they show in this trailer. I'm excited to see the Thor Hulk fight. I mean, that can be amazing. It could be amazing. I'm excited to see them team up. And that last frame where Hulk is going against that Surtur demon. I'm like, holy crap! Yeah, I want to see that. It's weird that they kind of just threw Hulk in here because it's just like, you know, he's kind of a big enough character. He should be able to carry his own movie, but they never be able to do that. I think that partially they can't really do that is because Hulk isn't a character who says a lot, but in the comics you can give him like an inner monologue of what the character is thinking, but you can't really do that in the movies. So anyway, that's what I'm most excited for, to see how they do this in the fights and how this movie unfolds and the characters that are in it. What is my biggest fear? My biggest fear is that this is going to feel really disjointed. You know, like we got trying to be super dark but super light, trying to be fantasy but Thor shoots a laser minigun. I'm afraid that my biggest fear is that the tones will clash and it'll be just a mess. Because when I was hearing the title Thor Ragnarok and I was thinking of Ragnarok, I was thinking it was going to be like super dark, like, cause Ultron, Age of Ultron, the way they built it up, it was just like, this is the end of all things. And everyone was like, oh, the worlds are gonna die, the stars are going out, or whatever it was said. It doesn't really feel like that's what they're doing here. It feels like it's going for a more adventurous tone and not really relying on this fantasy too much. But it does feel like there is some, like, these scenes look like, okay, they are doing that. In the end, if it's a good movie, I won't care too much if they don't go into the fantasy elements that much, because we already had a movie this year that did the fantasy and real-world elements really well. One thing I am excited for that I kind of forgot. We got no Kat Dennings and Natalie Portman character. Not from what I've seen in the trailers, and yes. Their characters are fine, but kind of pointless in the long run. Thor can be funny himself just because how entertaining he is. We don't really need a comic relief. Natalie Portman, if the story is about Asgard, she really has no place in it, and I would rather her just be out of it than force her character into the movie like they did with Thor the Dark World. Oh, she just happens to be where the ether is and gets sucked into there and get it sucked into her. It was, how convenient. Do I have any predictions? Well, I don't know. I think maybe Odin might be dead. I think it's possible that Odin is dead, or maybe Loki made a deal with Hela and got her taken away. I predict Surtur is in it because of the trailer. What else? It's possible that maybe Hulk wants to stay in Asgard, because we seem to have more actually personality coming from the Hulk in this. Because Hulk seems to be less Hulk smash and more Hulk want to smash. You know, he's expanding his vocabulary. So it'd be interesting if he decides to stay in Asgard afterwards. It'd be interesting because Asgard seems pretty much destroyed, so what does he do? And how do you defeat the god of death? I don't know. Goddess of death, whatever. Besides that, I don't really have too many. Loki fakes his death again. It'd be interesting if Loki fakes his death again, and then Thor just runs around the corner and grabs him and is like, I am not buying it this time, brother. You're going to prison. So let's get to the excitement meter for Thor Ragnarok. For this one, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to label it as, it looks fun. Yeah, it looks fun, you know, and that's kind of where I'm sitting at. A 6.5 on the excitement meter, something like that. It's just because, well, I want to see it, and the trailer actually makes it look very interesting. The Thor movies so far haven't captivated me. I haven't loved them. I didn't love the first Thor movie. I didn't love the second Thor movie. I like Thor and Loki as characters, but I kind of like them in almost outside of their own movies, you know? Like, it's like, can we just get away from the Thor stuff? But this seems to be taken in a wildly different direction, and that might be to its benefit, or it might be its downfall. Either way, I think it looks fun, and I'm going to see it, obviously. And that's what I'm going to label it as. And now, finally, we come to what are the chances it is a bad movie? I think there is a risk that it could be bad because of the conflicting tones. I think it definitely has a high chance of being very entertaining. But the Thor movies, none of them have blown me away. You know, like, Marvel's been decently good with them, but they've been like movies that I watch once, and then, you know, I watch it when it comes out in DVD, and then that's it. I don't really need to revisit them. I don't even think I have The Dark World on DVD. So it has a chance to be the best out of all of them, but it also has a chance to just follow that trend. So, but Marvel is still consistently good, despite maybe not being mind-blowing. I think the other Thor movies are good. So I think the chances are 70% it's a good movie, only 40%... 40. Where do you go to school? I was homeschooled, can you tell? No, 70% it's a good movie, only 30% chance that it's a bad movie. That's what I'm going to say. I think it's probably a still decent shot that it's going to be a good movie. I don't have any read if it's going to be a great movie yet. And, like, it looks like it's going to be fun. And that's all I'm really looking forward to it, is it going to be fun. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. That's my predictions for Thor Ragnarok. And, yeah, if you have any predictions of your own, put them in the comments below. And I only have one movie left to talk about. And I still don't know how to feel about this one. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Lazerdude, and see you on the next predictions, or next video, or, well, I won't see you at all. You'll see me, whatever. Goodbye. Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.